Hello, welcome to Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena. I'm your host, Tamara Caulder Richardson. I'm a 6-time near-death experiencer, as well as an evidential psychic medium and Christ channeler. And if you haven't seen any of the episodes, watch the episodes, subscribe, like, and become a member. And also make comments on the videos as well, because everything that you do to participate helps this channel grow, whether you donate and or participate with comments and watching the episodes and also the live chats on Friday. Everything is helpful. So thank you so much for supporting this channel. Now, let me tell you who this person is fantastic, the guest that we have on today. I have never met anyone that really is like a Renaissance person that has done so much and is so soulful and so much of a full life that there's so much that we can learn. And today's guest, let me tell you a little bit about who's here. So we have Donna Rebadow, and she is a near-death experiencer. That's just a small part of who she is. She is also a former athlete. She's a sports acupuncturist who trained in China. She has also done, oh my goodness, so many things. She's a mystic, a humanitarian, as well. She's trained guide dogs. There's so much that actually, this is a very abbreviated introduction, and then she's going to go into things more herself. And we decided to actually show some photographs because she has such a full life. It's just amazing, so much we can learn just from watching her life. So Donna does have a podcast. She is a podcast host. It's very good. You guys need to watch it. It's called, she is the host of a spiritual podcast that she was told by, God, Spirit, to do this, to help people become more spiritually aware, spiritually beginners. Although I wouldn't say it's just for beginners, it's very good. And it's called the Exploring Consciousness. We will have the links below and so forth. So today's topic, from professional athlete to mystical explorer, you'll find out soon why. So Donna, she'll tell you about her near-death experience, and of course it changed her world into looking at other dimensions, and the world's bigger, but she also has done many things to explore her consciousness by taking spiritual development classes, such as remote viewing with Lori Williams, intuitive remote viewing at the Monroe Institute, Bill Bingston's healing cure technique, as well as angel communication, mediumship. I believe she's taken that with Susan Giesman, and as well as traditional Chinese acupuncture. And she's done so much. There's so much that's not even on here. Her charitable humanitarian work is amazing alone, as well as you're going to find out a little bit about some of her charity work, which is also her guide dog training program, which is the iDog Foundation of Phoenix, Arizona. She's also a chaplain. She works with the angels. She's very mystical. She's very spiritually aware and intuitive. She's also, she does healing work, obviously, with being acupuncture, but she is the most grounded as well as spiritual person I think I've ever met. She's going to tell you a little bit more about her show, Exploring Consciousness, but it is on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, the second week of the month. And so I want to go ahead and bring her on, and her website is exploreconsciousness.com. And welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel.
Hello, Tamara. How are you?
Hey, Donna. Yeah, I'm so excited what you're doing. And seriously, your podcast is amazing. It's funny. I get a chuckle how you were told to do that by Spirit. I was told to do this. They didn't say, what is it, iHeartRadio. They told me this really specific. So, and they were specific with you. And as you know, it's a tremendous amount of work with editing and finding the proper quality guest. And I don't know about you, but Spirit tells me, this one or that one, and maybe that's the message that someone needs to hear. So we'll wrap up more with how people can see those episodes, because you're really rocking it on that, doing a really terrific job. But I wanted to start with you. There's so much to go over. Wow. But I wanted to start, I think it's, you had formal training as an athlete, and I wanted to make sure that, we did talk about I think it's fascinating, and I've got some imagery here. Are you okay with starting with the athlete thing, and then at some point we can go into the NDE and wherever you take it? I've got some photos here. You can always tell me just to put it up. Or shut up. I don't know.
Thank you for having me on the show. And yes, we can start basketball.
Okay, cool. There's just so much here. Okay, here we go. All right.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
Love it.
that's me in the picture. I played for Wayland Baptist. If you notice on my left hand, it's a cast. I broke my thumb and I still decided that I should play. And the picture on the other side is how I look now, a little different, with my spirit dog, Kalia, who is a German Shepherd Poodle mix.
Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. And this is the logo for where is it again at the bottom of the school?
So this is the Hutcherson Foundation, and Clyde Hutcherson was the one that sponsored our team. So we were called the Flying Queens, and we were inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame in the spring of 2019 as a program. So our entire college, anyone who played for the program from 1948 to 1984 was also inducted as the largest club in basketball history. Very proud of it.
That's amazing. And then you were number 12, and I'm seeing here you were number 12. Is that 22 or 23 behind you?
That's Lindsay. Lindsay from, I think she's from Iowa. She's 23.
Oh, okay. There's 12 and 23. That's
me up front. You probably can't notice. The only reason I know it's me is the cast on my arm.
Oh no, I can tell because you do the little funny thing with your tongue still. Expressions. Yeah.
Here's our Hall of Fame ring.
Oh, let's see. Oh my gosh. This was a big part of your life that you were involved in, but you told me that you've always been spiritually open. And again, I've never seen anyone so grounded to this earth, because you have to, when you're doing contact sports, you have to be in present time. And I know that we've also talked that you've done quite a bit of martial arts, and I've done, a black belt in Hapkido, and you've trained, what was it? A couple different arts. What was it?
So I'm a brown belt in Judo and a white belt in Aikido, and I do Tai Chi and Qigong.
Oh, wow.
So I have 4 of those.
Yeah, I really think that any kind of sports like this or martial arts really helps ground you, especially when you do a lot of spirit work. So I'm thinking we've got you have your near-death experience, but you're not that. You're so much more. However you want to take it. Do you want to talk about, this is about your spiritual journey. It was amazing, of awakening. Do you want to mention anything, your early years as a kid, how you were? Because you said you were already noticing that you were different.
Yeah, I was one of 9 children, and two of the children didn't make it, through miscarriage and stillbirth. So I was number 5, and so there were 2 above me, 2 below me. So I was smack dab in the middle. So the older ones got to go to school. I'm sorry, 4 older and 4 younger, and they went to school. So I spent a lot of time as a kid alone, and I remember swinging on the swing in the backyard, and my dad had put cement in the swing so we wouldn't fall over. We could go as high as we could. So I remember as a kid looking above the tree top, looking at the top of the trees, and then I heard, "Your life will be an adventure." And so I was sitting there going, "Oh, I wonder what's beyond the trees." So I've spent my life wandering the earth beyond those trees in the back of my yard. Well, so my life was, I thought what I was doing was normal. So I could, if someone was talking to me, now I'm talking about I'm in 2nd or 3rd grade or whatever it is, and someone's talking to me, and I wondered, well, what did they really feel about that? So I can go inside them and look out their face. So I was like in their body, trying to figure out what they were thinking and feeling.
Cool trick.
So I thought that was, so my older sister, who I'm really close with, said something, and I go, "Why don't you go inside them?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, go inside them. Go inside their, get in their head, get in their body, and then you can know what they know. You can be, you could figure that out." And she goes, "You cannot be doing that." So, as for kids, when they realize that what they're doing is a little different or not normal, then they stop doing that. But for me, I just stopped telling people. I just continued with. So it was natural to me to be able to go into someone's body to figure out what they were saying or feeling. It wasn't trying to spy or, I was just a kid. I thought that was natural. So I ended up realizing that I really shouldn't share this with anyone. but being really close to my guides, and they would tell me things. They would say, you know, go here, do this. They were inspiring all the time from high school to this minute on what to do and where to go. So there was some abuse in my family. So for me, I just knew that it made me very strong, because I felt like no one's going to push me around. No one's going to do this to me anymore. And I'm just going to go on that adventure that my guides talked about. So nothing has stopped me. Nothing gets in the way.
So you just have this fearless, joyful way to live life. And very few people do that, and that are grounded in reality at the same time, realize they're a spiritual being and stay connected, and don't. I mean, you even as a kid, you didn't even have a fear attached to that. And when people said, "Oh, you can't be doing that," you're like, "Okay, I'm still doing it. I'm not telling anyone." Was there anyone else that was intuitive and aware and worked with the energy like you did? Any other siblings?
My dad and
Really?
my dad was
Okay.
very, very intuitive, and now my nephew and now his child, my niece, my great niece, are intuitives.
Okay, that makes sense, because you were with the group medium reading. Your dad came through with flying colors. I got it, because that's his thing too. Okay, that makes sense.
What's the next picture?
Yeah, well, I've got, this is a good one. I love this. It really shows you in your power. This is one of many things that you've done. I mean, you have 5 degrees, including getting acupuncture in China as a master acupuncturist. So tell us about this. This is, you call them little workshops and projects, but I would hardly say learning how to fly a plane is that. That's impressive.
Yeah, my big sister that I told you about, Cindy, she flew an airplane before she got her driver's license. And my uncle was the manager of the Buffalo Airport. So my father was wanting to fly airplanes in the Air Force. So flying was always important to me. So you can tell how much younger I am. Look, I don't have white hair in that picture. But yeah,
well.
this is a little Cessna 172 that I owned with 4 other people. So yeah, I love to fly.
Wow. You had your own plane. How long did you do that for?
I'm 10, 12 years. I sold the airplane in order to take care of some stuff with my family.
Yeah, I understand. That's a long time, and it's expensive also to keep up your license. You know, it's interesting. My dad, my stepdad, he flew Cessna, so we would go to the beach. We'd get on a little plane. That's what we did locally. We didn't go any place really big, but we'd go as a family. We'd get in the Cessna. So that's interesting that you did that. But it is expensive to keep all that up.
Oh, this is so as a sports medicine acupuncturist, I worked with a group of athletes that won Rio Olympics. And well, actually, I've worked with USA bobsled and worked with elite and professional athletes. So I worked with a lot of the teams that come into Phoenix for spring training. I've had players fly me into their cities to do acupuncture, but this group is a really great group of Olympians. So I love looking at this. So the sports medicine acupuncture has taken me some places too.
This is probably a good time to show this.
So yeah, so being I also got a chance to mentor some individuals. So I'm working with someone here on teaching them how to do specific techniques with sports medicine acupuncture. It's traditional Chinese medicine plus 2 or 3 more years of training with Western medicine so that we could understand sports injuries. So the person I'm working on here is, we worked on people from 33 different countries.
Wow.
And
so what kind of sports injuries would you see?
Well, it depended. It was sports specific. So my baseball players, if they were pitchers, I saw a lot of shoulder throwing injuries, some leg injuries. My bobsledders were pushing injuries, a lot of lower leg injuries. So if they were pole vaulters, they had their own set of injuries. So you have to, for our final exam, we had to be able to show, they put 72 different injuries, 72 injuries in a hat. And you had to be able to tell everything about that injury on your final exam. They would pull one out of the hat. Sports medicine certification, and there's only a couple of hundred of us in the world with those certifications.
So you studied, that was 2 extra years. So how long did you study acupuncture in China?
Well, in China, it was summer in China, but our school was associated with this school in China. So it's traditional Chinese medicine. And where I went was Sichuan. So the traditional Chinese medical, it's a hospital and an institution. And I went in 2008 I was in Croatia at the time doing humanitarian aid when I got the call that there was an earthquake in Sichuan. So I had to travel from Croatia to the United States before I went back to China.
Wow.
So when we got there, we got to work with, in the hospital, we got to work with all those crushing injuries that happened during the Sichuan earthquake. And we stayed, and they couldn't believe that we stayed. And so they gave us special names and special treatment. So I'm Tan Li Zin, which means the Tan dynasty is the most giving. And I have the most generous heart of the Tan dynasty is my name.
Wow, what an honor. Yeah,
Very
you
much
do.
an honor.
Was that the time you were working, you started with children?
Well, I've worked with children around the world. Children is my specialty, I guess you would say. But I've worked with orphans in Croatia during and after the war. I've worked with high school and college kids in Chiapas. It's in Mexico, just north of Guatemala. And we did a laptop project. When I say we, it's not an organization. It's me in contacts with just the people in that area. And I say, what do you need? And I'll bring duffel bags worth of whatever they need. So in Croatia, I brought duffel bags worth of medicine, diapers, clothes, and I take them and leave the duffel bags there. And then in Chiapas, they needed some help with laptops for the college kids. So we smuggled in, don't tell anybody, we smuggled in laptops for those kids. So I do stuff like that.
You have such a giving heart. And I think that while you're busy doing other things and your studies, and also as well as, you're always studying because you have 5 degrees or so many things you've done, but in between all of that and actively working, you still make time to help people. And
yeah, I have
something.
I have 5 college degrees, and I would take my students. We would go down and feed the homeless in Arizona as part of a class project. They got a choice. You can feed the homeless with me. You can be Christ nursery with me. You can write a term paper from hell.
A term paper. What is it? Term paper from hell, feed the homeless, and what was the other one?
Rock babies to child crisis nurse.
So, oh wow. So before you showed up, like just instead of just putting the kids out with a bunch of homeless people and probably traumatizing the homeless people, you actually showed them the etiquette and how to be kind and how to talk to them and how to approach them. Is that what you were saying?
We did a soup kitchen with them. So House of Hospitality in Phoenix, Arizona. So we would go down and we'd help cook the meals. So you had to cook first, cook and clean, and then feed them, and then the Andre house, and we'd break bread, and I would help them. They had to write a paper and of how they applied it to the class. So I helped them with that.
Oh wow. Okay, so we gave them real hands-on knowledge.
No matter what class you took from me. So I was a professor at a Valley Community College, and I liked that. I liked being at the community college because these were freshmen, and I loved that group. But I've taught a kindergarten, preschool, high school, community college, the whole range of people. And the one thing through it all is you had to do an experience. You had to experience something else.
Right. Do you remember when, we were kids and I remember going to a farm and you would go places, but now it's like, oh, somebody may get hurt along the way. It became very legal or something, but we used to go places on field trips, didn't you?
Oh, we did. And they got legal, and they didn't, toward the end of my getting more and more legal, I couldn't take the kids down. We had an end with one of the homeless, and it wasn't against my students, but it was a homeless person going at a homeless person, and I jumped out broke up a fight between two homeless people, two homeless
Oh,
men.
that's not good. Well, how did that happen?
Well, we just happened to be walking by and the time, and they were too close to my student. So I'm a mama bear, so you can't get close to my people without me going on the protection mode. So I jumped in the fight and, dismantled one guy, put him on the ground, the other guy to
Wow.
leave. Some of my travels around the world, this is my traveling partner, Mary Lou, and we are up in northern Alaska, and this is the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. I like this picture because when I had my near-death experience, God showed himself to me like this picture. This is when I saw this.
You were talking about the energy that you felt. What did it feel like? Did it feel powerful? Did it feel like one of those positive portals?
Yes, it was extremely powerful. It opened my heart like a portal, and I knew if people started coming around me that I was going to start receiving messages for them. But it was electric. It was very electric. It was very powerful. It felt otherworldly. I didn't feel like I was on the planet. It normally is just green, but it changed colors that whole night. In fact, our guide said he'd been going up there in lights like 20 years. He'd never seen the lights like that night. I could hear him talking. They were just making all sorts
There's a noise?
Yeah.
Really? Really? Like what?
Like electrical. It sounds like an electrical charge, like a wave of. So these are almost like a ribbon when it moves, and so it's full of electricity. So you could hear the crackle and this glacier. Look how blue it is. And
it doesn't even look real. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And it was calving, which means slicing off. So this is like the Empire, as tall as the Empire State Building. This is a huge, huge glacier.
You got to be kidding.
And down at the bottom, there was a unusual phenomenon, and that was water was coming out from the glacier, and it was calving, which means some of the parts of the glacier were being separated from the main glacier and falling into the water. Yes. And it sounded like a shotgun. And if it fell on you, it would kill you. It was just a powerful force. So, on my travels, I've seen a lot of, people say, well, we haven't seen that before. That's something new. That's, I get a lot of that when I travel.
This is, you would never think that it's that massive. I can imagine it was breathtaking, and the colors are beautiful. Yeah. Now, is the reindeer part of that adventure? We're talking about your adventures and the spirituality, how it blends in. So we're going to show you the reindeer, get back on the spiritual part. But when you embrace everything from spirit, I have to interject this. When you embrace everything from spirit, it is an adventure, but as like a medium, spirit wants you to know so many things because they can use that as part of your vocabulary, but that's true with everyone. And so you've had these experiences and that I'm sure enhance your spirituality. So let's talk about this reindeer.
So the friends that we went with brought us on, this is a person's private acreage, and they raise reindeer. And let them go in the forest around their home. And we got to be around, I think there's about 20 of them, 20 reindeer, all genders and ages. And this particular guy, he and I had a lot of rapport, a lot of connection. So he let us come up to him and touch him and pet him. And, I just felt, his antlers are deformed. And I tend to go towards people that might not look normal, that might have an extra burden because of either a handicap or something. So this reindeer and I connected right away, and we just got to talk about how unique he is. He doesn't, he's a little different, but it's okay. And so he let us, pet him.
traditionally with far as with sports and with helping with the healing and the acupuncture and probably also energy work. But animals, how did that take place? I mean, you're just a natural with animals. I've just got to show this. This is one of my favorite pictures in the whole world.
Oh my gosh.
I love this so much.
Can you tell it's me though? I was on sabbatical and I decided, well, the guys, the men, the professors, when they go on sabbatical, they grow a beard. So I grew a ponytail, pulled it back. But that's me holding a panda. And again, something that was unusual. When we went into the building, the handlers weren't going to open it up for people. And I don't speak a lot of Chinese, and they didn't speak English. And I asked them if I could hold a panda. And so they gave me the blue scrubs that I have on and the gloves. And I got to feed this panda at the Sichuan Panda Reserve, Panda Center.
So it's not that you had a bottle, but it's a popsicle.
It's an apple.
It's an apple. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it on a stick? No.
Yeah. It's
okay.
A little bit on a stick. You can see the stick coming out a little bit. And I had to turn it and hold it for him. And he's very heavy and slippery. So I just said, okay, you're not going anywhere. I'm grabbing you and I'm talking to him. I'm just like, enjoy this apple. I love you.
Aww.
He was very happy. He knew he was in a sheltered, protected area. And so there was he felt like he was really safe. And that's why he let me hold him, because he felt safe. He wasn't going to be put out into the forest and have to fend for himself. So he's very playful. He's actually a hysterically funny panda. And so I was sitting there with him and just laughing. You could see me talking to him, kind of have a smile on my face. And you're pretty funny. I would take you home in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. Well, animals have different personalities, just like people.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, this guy was pretty. He was fun.
Now, how much do you think he weighed?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. 80
200?
pounds.
Okay, not quite. Okay.
80 pounds. Okay. It's like, I was trying to think of like, if you pick up a dog food bag that weighs 30 pounds, it was like picking up 3 dog food bags of 30 pounds.
Oh, wow. So right under 100 of whatever.
Something
that would
like
be.
that. I think
wow.
So. Yeah.
I mean, because I'm thinking he's heavier than he looks. I mean, yes. I know he looks like he's got, little stuffings in him and he's not real, but he's real and he's got to be super heavy and dense. So,
very, very heavy and dense. Yeah. You can feel the power.
I love how that you're holding him like, I got you, and how there's no back off, and you're like, but I love that's how you live your life with intention. I think there's the qualities about you that you have that I haven't seen us, the grounding and the spiritual, which we're going to go there, but also the fact that you just seize the day. You literally seize the day, and you just do these things. So I have to ask you, these opportunities, I'm sure you created, it's probably some of these opportunities, and this is just a few things that you probably were offered. When you have adventures offered to you, or they come across your path somehow, what is your attitude? I want people to hear this, because there's a difference between you and most people I meet, and I want to get into your head. So when people go, blah, 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 and I just want to hear your thinking process. And they go, blah, blah, blah. I've got this thing in Peru and we really need help. And how do you process that?
Well, I do have discernment. So you're seeing all the projects I've said yes to. You haven't seen the projects I've said no to.
I love that. I love that. Very good answer. You need discernment.
Need discernment. Well, I think because I was open, I think because I made a decision as a child that nothing was going to stand in my way. I wasn't going to I just made up my mind. And I knew my guides, so I would talk to my guides every day. Just listen. I'm open and listening to inspiration and possibilities. So I always look at anything that comes up. I never ever looked at, I'll wait to do this. I'll wait till I retired. I'll wait to the proper moment. To me, the proper moment was in the presentation at that moment. So if someone called me from Peru, which they have. So you must be a medium that you knew that.
Yeah, I'm a psychic medium. Who
Yeah,
knew?
there you go.
Yeah,
And
really,
so,
it was Peru. It was Peru because I get
it
a
was
Peru
Peru.
a
Yeah.
llama connection with you,
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
really, and I've never.
Yeah, you didn't know
Of course,
that.
I didn't know that.
So I actually said yes to this project, and had some people going with me, and we were getting our duffel bags in order, and it was a government thing that got in the way of us being able to go there. So yeah,
you were going to go, but you didn't.
Yeah, we weren't able to. But in Chiapas or Croatia or China or all the places that I've been, it was always like a friend of mine is in Ghana, and we're trying to do a mosquito net project in Guyana, a water treatment and mosquito net project for Guyana. So I've said yes to that. And it's me working with someone who knows someone who knows someone, and they would contact me, and I would hear what what did they need and what I could provide. And then I would go out and ask people to help. Like I would say, who wants to donate diapers to my duffel bag or medicine or whatever? And I just let it flow. I just really let it flow. But even with the guide dogs in training, if something presents itself, I never looked at it as a coincidence. I always looked at it as a God incidence. That this was something that God was putting in front of me, and he knows me, so he knew, like, hey, let's give it to the busy person; it'll get done.
How do you get the discernment? Tell people how you get your discernment.
Great question. Me, body thing. So I almost feel like a ring or a vibration or this feels right. I don't know what the like clairaudience or clairsentience, but the one that you have the feeling. I know it in my entire body. Like I know all my cells, and I don't know if that's from my athletic training, from being an athlete. I know my body, and so it comes through my entire body as this feels right. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, mine can be so mine's a body. Sometimes I'll hear something as a telepathic thing, or I'll have a vision.
Okay.
I'll be able to see yes or no. Not the words yes or no, but see the project roll out. Yeah, I never worried about the details at the time that I said yes. I didn't worry about the money or the travel or the whatever. Never, ever in my life did I worry about that.
Okay. And so did it all fall in, because most people worry about the details, and so they get hung up on the details. So they don't go on these amazing adventures. So what would you speak to them about that, about the details?
Well, that's a great question. I saw that a lot with the guide dog training, because people would talk to us a lot about, I'd say, would you consider being a puppy raiser for the iDog Foundation? And here come the excuses.
Okay.
And it would, I wait till I retire, I'll do this, whatever the excuse was, it just so shocked me, because it wasn't part of my life. It wasn't,
Wow.
And so for me telling people, I realize that people have children, people have finance, people have family issues. I know people just can't up and go like I can. I get that. I understand that. But I have my own obstacles. I have, single people have obstacles too. And so I would just never let anything get in my way when I felt something was right. So I guess it would be like, I guess I would ask them, to look at their fear. And, a lot of people are so fearful. Whatever the example is in life, it would be like, I just would, like, if fear was a thing, I would just step over it or knock it down, or just like get the hell out of my way.
But I think that there's an important lesson here, and it's about the power of your intention to make things happen. The other aspect, fear, when fear comes in, but fear is always yourself, and it stops people in their spiritual progress. And people may go, what does this have to do with spirituality? Everything, because if God is trying to communicate through you, that we have to listen, we have to be obedient. If you don't listen to that, then we have to listen to ourselves too. Then that's a problem, being on the spiritual path, doing what we want to do versus what we're told to do. And I think you're also listen to spirit on stuff. I really do.
I listen to spirit on everything. And let me give you an example. I was playing professional softball, and we were in between a doubleheader, and people could come up to where we were playing in the stadium. And I was a catcher, and you have your name on the back, and my last name's Rebadow. So this girl came up to me and starts yelling, "Hey, Rebadow, I can do what you're doing. You're not so good. You think you're so hot." And I'm like, well, I never had those thoughts, but okay. So I'm like, okay. And I turned to her and I said, "You know what? You are probably better than I am." And it just stopped her in her tracks. And she looked, and her jaw dropped. And I said, "But there's one difference between you and I." And she was like, "What?" And I go, "I'm willing to pay the price to make my dreams come true." And what that means is no matter what you choose, there's always a consequence or a choice.
There is. There's a sacrifice. What about the person that goes to work and they're getting paid, I don't know, $300,000, and they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're being paid that." Well, maybe it's because they studied in law school 8 years, and then they took crap at a firm for another 10, and then they had crappy clients for another 10. And now they're at the point they can make that. So
yeah, it's absolutely true. If you look at my life, so I worked in a pickle factory. I mean, how many people work at minimum wage in a pickle factory? All I did all day was shove pickles in a jar. And it was like just to work to get experience. I was a waitress in Switzerland. So, everybody thinks, oh, that's glamorous. Well, I was cleaning toilets in Switzerland. So, it's like anything that you do, you don't do it in a stupid way. I'm not a stupid person. I'm not a, there's sacrifices to be made. And I understand those sacrifices. And it's like, but I'm on this planet to live now. Why not live it to the fullest? I'm not a couch potato. I'm not going to sit there and just do nothing. Like right now, my poor family says, "Well, how many things are you doing now?" Well, not too many. I'm doing
they know you.
I'm doing a podcast. I'm learning, I'm learning some stuff on my guitar. I'm learning the didgeridoo. I have my Native American flute. I'm writing 2 books, but that's
jewelry.
It. That's I do jewelry. I do make jewelry. I make dream catchers. I'm a spoon bender. So I never, to me, it's like,
spoon bender. That's one thing on my bucket list I haven't done. I've had so many friends do it. They love it.
I love it. It's showing people, I use it a lot for my patients, because when I say I'm working on energy, it means nothing. What's energy? I can't see it. I can't feel it. Just like the wind. You can't see the wind, but you see the effects of it. So I take out my spoon and I put my energy in it and I twist it and I go, "Well, you do that." And they can't. And I'm like, "Well, that's energy, and I've practiced, so everything I've done is been, like you said, gone to school. There's a price to be paid for all of it.
Absolutely. And it's funny you're mentioning this, because I'm having some cognitions as you're talking. I've had people that, sometimes, I don't look at it like that. So it's just weird to me, because I think everybody's great in their own way, and God has a plan for everybody. And, there's sacrifices. I never had kids, but guess what? I've spent my whole life on a spiritual journey. And I also couldn't come out how strange I thought. I really wasn't strange. I think I'm very normal, but my abilities of, different things. And now I'm coming out more and more. I'm like, wow. Because I find that other people, it's a safer place. Maybe it's a safer world in some ways when it comes to being, talking about the supernatural, super wonderful, I call it. So the price of being different and not saying anything and being ostracized and a witch and being called horrible things. They don't see that. They go, "Oh, Tamara, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah." What about all the 8 years? What about all the money studying as a medium? Like a lot. And what about the embarrassment of getting it wrong, when you're learning? What about the time standing on stage and people are staring at you, you're scared to death? I did it, so that's just a teeny example, but going in front of people and doing it, knowing you can fail It's kind of exciting, actually. It's good, because you know what? God didn't set us up to fail, but I think that when people see other people, that's their path. We don't need to be looking at other people. We just need to be looking at ourselves, what feels right to us, because what's right for you is not right for me. I can't see me on a mountain feeding llamas. But then again, no, I'm just saying, I love animals and I love people, but I can totally see me at a big convention giving like a bunch of old ladies hugs and kidding with them and doing healings and doing all that. And I do it like right on the spot. I don't even care where I am. I can see that, but God knows all of us have a special purpose. So we should never compare. Talk about your spiritual journey now and about your, wait, did you have any like big epiphanies? Because I know you work with the angels, you work with your guides. It's just something that's been natural to you, but did you have any big pivotal points? Maybe the NDE might be a good time to talk about that.
My NDE, definitely.
You want to talk about that? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. So I was out in the Adirondacks Mountains in New York. I'm from Western New York. And so I was up with in one of the Adirondack lakes and was in a freak accident, a boating accident, and the tow rope got wrapped around my leg and strangled my leg, right? It's a strangulation injury. It strangled my leg to the bone. And I was dragged underwater and I drowned. I died and went to see the creator of the universe, which was the Aurora Borealis looking spirit. I was given knowledge. I was given like telepathy. So God is talking to me through telepathy and telling me things and calling me by my name that only God and I know. And I felt bad for my family. I thought, how are they going to, where are they going to have the funeral? It's like, so when I died, I went through a saran wrap kind of veil. And I realized two things right away. One, that I was dead. And two, that there's no time on this side. I went, oh, there's no time here. This is eternity. Mm-hmm. And then it's a weird feeling because I felt like I was still in my body. So I had the sensation of every cell in my body vibrating and laughing. And they were like so excited. And I looked down at my body, but I obviously didn't have one. And I said, what are you guys so happy about? And they're laughing, just laughing. And I looked up, and as I looked up, it's like on the other side of the planet, I could feel, God, what people would call God or source, come up. And then I looked up and I was like in the presence of the creator of the universe. And I was blown away. I was like love shooting through my body one way and then messages through my head another way. And we started talking at the same time. So as I thought something, he spoke it. And I say he because it's not a he or she or an it.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's just hard to go he, she every time.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's hard to name. And it's true. We don't really have the vocabulary, but go ahead.
So I was saying things like, oh my God, you're the creator of the universe. As he was saying, oh, I am the creator of the universe. And I said, and I was hearing the revelation of how things work in the universe. And I was saying things like, oh, that's how that works. So he was having fun with me. And he said to me, I even know the number of the grains of sand on a beach in New Zealand. And I was immediately put down on a beach in New Zealand with my eye up against a grain of sand going, oh my God. And then zip back up in front of God going, oh my God. You even know. And as I'm saying this, the number of hair on my head, he's saying, I even know the number of hairs on your head. And so I was just like, blown away. And so we're having this chat and all of a sudden he says to me, well, what do you want to do here?
Watch out, Angel. She's an overachiever. Watch out.
Exactly. So, I'm trained in psychology. So I teach 5 different disciplines. So one of the disciplines I teach is psychology. So we had to learn about active listening. So just in my training, I look at God and I go, so what I hear you saying is, Starts laughing. I go, "That's what you
To repeat back. So this is what you're kind of wanting, some suggestions here.
So as what I hear you saying is, are you asking me if I want to live or die? And it was like
Right.
the Aurora Borealis smile and all this electricity and laughter lit up the entire universe. I could see everything in all the multiverses. And so he's laughing. And it was like, yeah, okay, Donna. But I did, yes, you got to make
Not laughing at you, but joyful because you thought it was cute how you, yeah.
And I knew, so he gave me the choice. What do you want to do
Okay.
here? Then I answered in a way I never expected. I said to God of the universe, I said, since you made me, I give the choice to you.
Wow.
As soon as I said that, I turned my head and I went, holy smokes. But I said, holy smokes. I go, oh my God, I just swore in front of God. So I'm like, oh my God.
Probably laughing again.
He started laughing again. And then there was nothing. There was nothing. And it lasted a second and it lasted eternity. And then I heard, you will go back and tell people about this moment, what surrender means. I give human beings a choice. I give human beings choice on this earth. And you just gave up your choice. And so you now know the power of choice. And you know the power of surrender. And I was just sitting there going, because I had to wait. I gave my choice away. I no longer had a choice. And I knew there was a line drawn, and I knew on the other side of that line was dead, dead. I'm near dead, but I knew what dead, dead was. And so I'm waiting and waiting, and I'm kind of like this, splayed out on the universe. And then all of a sudden I was released, and I started falling back to earth. And I heard this. I actually heard this. I heard from heaven, from the skies. I'm falling back. I heard this voice go, good answer.
No way. Good answer. That's hysterical. Oh God, that's so funny.
Then I snapped back in my body and I'm going, what the heck was that? I'm dead. I'm drowned. And then I heard the boat stop. And I go, oh my God, I'm going to live. And then I started putting my hands up to swim to the surface. I had my life jacket on, but my leg, the rope is embedded in my leg. It's strangled to the bone.
Right. So how do you get loose?
How are they going to undo this? And as I was going to the top of the surface, I felt human hands under my armpits lifting me. And as soon as I felt that, the rope came undone. And I said, that's impossible. And I get to the surface, and I'm just spitting out all this water. And I looked at my leg and I said, oh my God, it's amputated. It's cut in half. So I grabbed my calf, because if I twitched and kicked it off, it would fall to the bottom of the lake, but I wanted to have it with me. So if I walked into the emergency room, I'd have my leg with me going, hey, can you reattach this? And so
God, you're tough. God, you're so tough. My God, to be so little, you pack a punch. I've got to tell you. Wow, I'm glad I wasn't that homeless guy. Was it really unattached? Was it really unattached?
It was strangled to the bone above the knee. And so the doctors were like, we don't know how are you alive? You should have drowned. The lake was full of giardia. Yeah, triple, you should did. And what happened? It's well, and so
okay, say that again. You were breaking the computer thing, and so the doctor said you shouldn't have lived because the rope was around under the knee. Is that correct? And
it's above the knee. Above the knee. It's strangled. It strangled my whole leg to the bone. So when I looked, all I saw was my leg about this size, the size of my femur, my bone.
I don't know how wouldn't that have cut off the blood to your heart and your head?
Yeah, I should be dead. Well, I was dead.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Well, you were dead, but you were resurrected. You were resurrected.
And they don't understand how my femoral artery wasn't ruptured. That should have killed me.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was squeezed at that boom. You would have gone boom right to your heart. Squeeze. Right.
Squeezed. It was squeezed. And so, they got me to the hospital, and, they were able to save my leg. And I now have a really unique scar. I still have the strangulation rope burns on my leg going around my leg. And then my artificial knee, it's cut lengthwise. So it's a very odd looking scar, and I have an artificial leg, artificial knee.
That is amazing that they were able to do. I mean, you're a miracle.
Yes. Yeah, I was dead.
You are a total I mean, you were dead. You were resurrected. This is the power of God. I mean, the power of God can do anything, because there's no reason you should be alive.
I should be dead. I wrote about it. I said I would have died when I was 43, and I wouldn't have been able to and then I listed all the things I've done since then. I mean, I did a bunch of things before, but my life is jam-packed with stuff every day. So
it sure is.
Yeah. So that was really, a lot of people ask me about that. I've been able, like, as a hospital chaplain, I've brought a lot of help to people that want to know, they're dying. There's people that have died on me as a chaplain, and, right there, it's like, really, don't die right here, right now. But, yeah.
Do you tell them your story to help them? You say, do you tell them I was given a choice and God decided, I love you so much, and he's a good choice.
Yeah.
Oh,
good answer.
Good answer. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah, near-death people know every single second of what happened. They can recall it like it was yesterday. This was 20-some years ago.
Yeah, it's but it's the pain part sucks, but usually most people go unconscious or pop out of their body before it gets too crazy. Did you pop out? You did?
Yeah, I was saying things. I was drug underwater. I could see the power of the boat. I could see the water hitting my chest, and there goes my air. So I'm saying things like, all that education, and I can't get out of this. How are they going to undo this? I'm dead. Now I know how I'm going to die. I'm just going to drown. I did. Just
right. But and then you just popped out, and there you are. So that is amazing, and that's why I said we are so loved and supported over there, and we sometimes feel so alone, but we're not. We're part of something so much bigger and wiser that we can't even imagine, and bigger in terms of other universes. How big
I
are
saw
we?
everything. I got to see everything. Yeah, and my leg. People they get near death NDE envy. Near death experience envy.
Oh. You know about this.
Yeah. So I was like, well, look at my leg. It doesn't work. I mean, as of last night, it twitches and moves and it hurts and there's a lot of pain, and, it's not all, fairy dust and unicorns. I was going to say, so my guides have been saving me my whole life. So my brother came into my room one night when we were teenagers. He was attempting to come into the room to kill me, and I can actually see my guides rushing past me and stopping him at the door. There was a time in Texas that I looked up I didn't see the stop sign because the sun was in my eyes, and I was in the intersection and I saw the school bus grill. I knew, okay, I'm going to get creamed by the school bus. And all of a sudden I was on the other side of the street, untouched, unscathed, and I knew it was my guide. So they've been saving me for some time in order to do this podcast.
I couldn't agree more. There are, and I think Candace said that she was told to do one as well, because here's the thing. Guys, we're hard-headed. I'm not talking about you, Donna. You listen. You're one of the ones that listen. You even gave God the choice. Argue with Jesus.
I gave away my choice. So people
you did.
Really have to understand the importance of choice every single minute. If I get preachy, it's going to be about this, is that everything that you think is in the other realm. Every single thing that you think is in the other realm. So as you're thinking of something, so, I'm human, so I say stupid things, I do stupid stuff, but I really watch and guard my thoughts, not just guard your mouth, but however you're thinking, like every single second. I actually watch them every single second.
You know what? I tell this to people all the time, but they don't hear what I'm saying.
No, you got.
You saw it in the medium demonstration. All those family members, they're not even angels and stuff. They're just our beloved family members. They knew what everybody was thinking. Not only did they know what you're thinking, your family knew what I was thinking and knew what everybody else was thinking at first glance. Right. They don't like when we're negative. They don't like when we don't fulfill our path here or kind to ourselves. And it makes them very sad because they know we're not here that long. So I try to keep a really positive, point of view, because I know they're listening. Your team, God's listening.
And it's not to be fearful, like, oh my God, God's listening. What am I going to do? No, it's more about it. Remember I said it's about choice. So as a thought comes in, I get thoughts that are just like stupid, like I go, oh man. But I watch that and I go, okay, let's erase that. Let's just,
I do that too.
I just go, I'm love, I'm love, I'm love. I'm all about love. I'm evolving into love. And I just say that until that thought just go back where you came from.
That's good. I like that. Just simple. Another thing that people do that are empathic, where they pick up people's negative mojo, they're walking around going, they're like, oh, all of a sudden I'm really upset. I'm like, no, you're picking up the lady on aisle number 3. Another exercise I do is simple, is that I touch my heart and I'll go, not mine, not mine, not mine, not mine. So I go back into my own center, kind of pull back in. But that love thing, that's a very good idea. But I'll do a race. No, that's not what I meant. I'll go, okay, sorry, that sounded really stupid. Let me re-say that. I try to catch myself. But I think what you're really talking about is a higher level thing. It's called spiritual maturity. And when I did the Jesus Speaks, he said, I want to talk about spiritual maturity. And I named it that. That's what he said. And people didn't like that one. They wouldn't even watch it, because that means accountability and responsibility. It wasn't mean. They were just talking about things like this, about love yourself, be careful. They didn't really want to hear that, because isn't it better to blame other people or other things than actually be accountable for your life here? And if things aren't going right, maybe you had something to do with that.
It's not better. It's easier.
Oh, it's a lot easier.
You said it's better it's easier. It's the easiest thing to do. So living an examined life is hard, but playing professional softball is hard. Going on adventures is hard. Dying is hard. Everything is hard. So
it is.
You have to decide. Do you want it easy, or what do you want? I mean, I would love to be on a beach, not in New Zealand, but maybe Hawaii. But if someone calls me,
yeah, okay, that sounds good. I'll go there too.
Yeah, although I got friends in New Zealand, so yeah. So it's like,
too.
So I understand when I talk. I understand. It's like when you tell someone, you're giving advice, and remember, about advice, the wise man doesn't need it and the fools don't heed it. That's about advice. So with advice,
bam, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like, I know it's easy for me to say, but I live it.
I know you do. I know you do, and it's not easy.
And I make mistakes, and sometimes I'm the bug, sometimes I'm the windshield. I mean, you get the whole gamut of life, but you just evolve into love. Oh, yeah. There's my mentor. There's me and Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, one of my pals. I love him. He does biology of belief. The biology of belief. It's outstanding. Yes. His book. Yeah. Me and Marla Fries. She's a psychic. She's a very, very good friend. She wrote American Psychic. I think you should have her on the show. She's just an outstanding light.
I love her smile. Look at that. She glows. Yeah. I like her already. I love the smile. Yeah. I don't know anything about her, but I feel connected because of her smile is amazing.
So down in the bottom by the chalkboard is Tom Campbell, who I really follow a lot.
Oh.
So we were at a Tom. He's the guy in the
right
white
here. Look at the bottom.
At the bottom toward the chalkboard, the tall guy in the white hair.
He's the one who says my left foot, right?
No, my big toe.
My big toe. The toe, the foot. I knew that. Okay, I knew. I knew what I was doing. Yes. Okay.
My big theory of everything. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. There's one right there.
So Sadie, okay. Those are some of my mentors. It's me in a younger, heavier version, and my dog, my German Shepherd dog. So I trained seeing eye dogs. And Sadie was my first, and she got sick, so I got her back, and I promised God if God could find a way to have this dog survive this catastrophic illness, I would do something spectacular with her. So Sadie and I became a pet therapy team at Maricopa Medical Center. We're writing a book called Wednesdays with Sadie, Miracles at Maricopa, that'll come out soon.
Well, no, I know that she's very special. Special. You've been around a lot of dogs and pets like me, but I know she's very special. You hate to say like your children, you have favorites,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you hate to say that, but I think you love them all, but I think there's some that connect to you more on a soul level.
She received the Hero Award from Friends of Family Care and Control.
And also, will you join us? I think that we had talked about doing a show on how animals energetically can help us humans because we're a wreck. We're up, we're down, we've got issues, but I think they can help ground us. And I talked about on the Friday chat that we talked about doing something on animals and how animals heal. And you're putting a program on that to show how let your animal assist you.
Also, you had said something before about how you talk to people that, I'm writing a book of my book and all my stories, and it's called All Possibilities A to Z. And I'm here to show people how you could live your life A to Z, from everything from, like you said, all the things that I've done that we haven't even talked about. My resume is just ridiculous. And so it's ridiculous resume.
But we had a lot in common. I'm surprised. Just taking off of you. There was some more I found, okay? Taking off stuff.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make there, Tamara, is that you can ask your guides. You're not doing this alone. My whole everything that we've talked about has all been spiritual, even though it looks physical or whatever it is, inspirational, whatever it is. It really starts at being okay in your own body and how you talk to yourself. And so it's asking for help from your guides, and don't listen with your answer running. And what I would tell my students is when I'm giving a lecture and I'm talking and you're sitting there doing a Horseshack, ooh, 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 I know. That means you have the answer. And instead of listening to me finish my sentence or finish the lecture, you're all up in your head about the answer. So we call that listening with your answer running. Like you're a car that idles, like you're just like, So when you do this and you ask your guides for help, you don't listen with your answer running. Like you're actually listening. And listening means shutting up and paying attention. That you're really quiet and you're hearing, and you go, I didn't hear anything, and I want it now. So still listening with your answer running. If you can practice this every day and be open and gentle and kind, and in the meantime, while you're listening for the answer, just do kind things and see what opens up in front of you. Like God sent that drowning man a life jacket, a boat, and a helicopter, and the drowning man told each one of those people, no, I don't need you, I'm waiting for God, I'm waiting for God. And so he gets to heaven and he goes, hey, God, I'm really mad at you. Why didn't you help me? He goes, well, what did you want me to do? I sent you a life jacket, a boat, and a helicopter. So as life presents itself to you, that's an answer. It can come in a song. It can come in a person. It can come in a, you're taking a walk and you see something that triggers something. That's how God talks to you. And you got to be open to that. That means you got to be aware and pay attention. And most people stop the noise in your head. I can't stop the noise in my head. Well, then just take a walk and observe.
Extrovert.
Just to observe, like what color is the house across the street from me? How many people live there? Taking walk. Oh, this guy with the, it's a little poodle. Have I seen him before? Be aware of your surroundings. Get out of yourself. I don't know. I got a little preachy there. I'm sorry.
No. I couldn't. I mean, I'm touched. I couldn't say thank you. This is why. Okay, remember I said we were hard-headed earlier. I didn't finish my thought. Humans are hard-headed, and because it takes you to do a podcast, Candace, and God knows how many other people, just for people to hear you say that same thing. I say it too, because they don't hear it the first time. They don't hear it the first time. And sometimes we have to have several signs. And I know our guides and angels get really frustrated. We need several signs. The way I look at it, I just had this exact conversation yesterday with someone. We were just talking about it. And I said, this is how you have to listen. It was because someone said, how do you do that? And they were asking, I said, this is how you have to listen. You listen with no expectations. You're like, well, so-and-so, you may even ask a question. Or you may have it open to like, what's for me? What's my path? What do you want from me now, God? It could be anything. It could be just why, what, whatever. You have to listen. Whatever answer comes, you have to be okay with that. And I get sometimes responses, I go like, okay, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, I'll sit on that. And I don't ponder and I don't think about it anymore till I get part 2 or get this, because I will get it. But sometimes they'll tell me things. They're telling me a lot of things today. I'm like, all right, I don't understand it. I'll write that. Let me write that down. Write it down. But you don't have an argument with yourself about what was said, because you just blew that miracle. You blew that gift. And sometimes our answer that we need is not the one that we want that's in our head. So to me, you listen with humility, and we're back to that surrender again. So getting back to podcasts, because seriously, we all say things in a different way that are doing, God's work, spiritual light workers. And people connect with different people, or they might have to listen to several people to finally get, wow, there's a theme, there's a message. You know why? Because we're connected to God. We're all connected. You're connected. I'm connected. Other people are connected. So apparently we're getting similar stuff so that it can amplify out in the world. I don't really have the time to hear all the things, but I do see repetitive patterns like this. I say the same thing all the time, but I think it's beautiful in how you said it. So, and it really is about that surrender, because really, God does know what makes us happy. God really knows who we are, each of us. How that's possible, I don't know. I'm not God, but like you said, every hair in your head. So tell us about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when I was in front of him, it made me feel like he created the entire universe just for me. That's something that stuck with me. He created the entire universe just for me. That's how much love he has.
Of course he did. Of course he did. He did, and he saved Sadie just for you.
Yeah, he did.
He did. How long did she live? I'm curious. After that, she was diagnosed.
Well, her birthday in 1999, and she lived to be 12, and she got cancer. So what happened was she retired as a guide dog. I got her back. Then she got the catastrophic months of. She's in that time home.
Let's say that last part again. She got the catastrophic what?
She got the catastrophic illness, and she was in the vet hospital for 10 months.
Oh,
10 months. Every day I had to pay that bill for 10 months for that dog. If you want to talk about sacrifice. So I could have cared less what I ate or didn't eat or whatever happened to me. It was like, I knew this dog needed to survive. And so.
Right. I totally understand that. We're spending, we don't even care, a fortune on our dog for heart medicine, like 5 times a day. Our dog is, we're like, we don't care. This is our Hawaii trip. We don't care. We love this freaking dog. I'm like, if I could just sit here and look at this dog and look at that beautiful face, what I see is purity and innocence. It doesn't really want anything from me except for food now and then, and to see purity. I'm like, I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I'm happy in the present moment with this beautiful being.
So Sadie and I spent every Wednesday for 4.5 years going up to see those children at Maricopa Medical Center. We did not miss a Wednesday. I didn't care what was happening. Every Wednesday for 4.5 years after that catastrophic illness. Then I noticed that she started slipping and sliding on the vinyl, and she was having a hard time getting on the bed. So we retired her. And then the child life staff asked if we could bring her to hospice. And so the next two or three, I lose track of the time, but 2 years, 2 or 3 years, we took her to hospice. And so she got people like Alzheimer's, dementia, people, like the nurses would cry when we came because they would say that lady hasn't talked in a month. And she just opened up and talked to Sadie. I just brought Sadie up to this person, and she goes, "Oh, I had a German Shepherd." And the staff was like, "Did she just talk?" So we did that portion of her life, and then we retired again. She came up lame. We were playing Frisbee in the backyard, and she came up lame. So it ended up being cancer. I was doing acupuncture on her. She let me do lots of things to help her. And then we had to make a decision because she couldn't walk anymore. So she couldn't go outside to pee or anything like that. And I had the vets that saved her life came to my house and
Had the talk. You had the talk. The
no,
quality of life talk.
they came to the house to get saved. Sadie, I have her ashes in my living room. So,
well, look, I've got boxes of all. It sounds really creepy, but
I don't care how creepy it sounds, man.
I've got the ashes of all my beloved dogs that I've had. Like, we keep dogs forever, like 20 years.
Yeah, so you might cut this out of the podcast because
we may cut the ashes, but yeah,
you might cut the ashes out. But I wanted you to know that.
Yeah, no, because they're a part of your family, and I think a lot of people can identify. If, some people can bury them in the backyard, fine. But I prefer to have them with me, and it is what it is. So some people keep their family members that are human with them. I mean, it's up to the person. Oh my God, you gotta laugh. That makes us laugh now. So look, tell everyone about your podcast, and they can also go to your website, which is exploreconsciousness.com, and then also your podcast that comes up. Tell them the days and the times so they can find it. It's Exploring Consciousness.
So I was coming out of a meditation and got a download from my guides about they laid out the whole podcast. They laid everything out, and I couldn't write fast enough. So it was for beginners on their spiritual journey. There's a lot of times I was in these workshops and I was with the participants and I heard them get really frustrated that so-and-so had this angelic experience and I got nothing. So-and-so had this and I got nothing. And so they get discouraged and they stop meditating. They stop going down their spiritual path. So this exploring consciousness is it's for beginners. I ask my people to talk to the beginners, and it's about how you can do not just meditation. You can do guided meditations. You can do sound. You can do light. You can do all these things. So I have these people on helping them know where to start or begin, or whatever you do, just don't give up. My father used to, my father used to say this about me. He goes, if you open the dictionary and you look up perseverance, my picture would be next to the definition. Because
100%.
I never met someone who just would, and here's one thing that maybe is just for you, Tamara, but when I was playing softball, I wanted to do something that was really hard. So I put 2 buckets and put cement in them. And I jumped into our family pool. I jumped into them with holding onto the cement buckets, and I wasn't going to get up. I at the bottom of the pool till I got to the shallow end just to see if I could persevere. I didn't know it was going to be a foreshadowing of my drowning, but
well, no, maybe you were training. Well, we don't know lessons that come up. We don't till it happens.
So the point of it is that if I just wanted to stretch myself, I just wanted to see if I could do something hard, like hold my breath underwater from the length of the pool, just to tell myself you can set little goals like that and achieve them no matter how hard they are. So I wanted something hard. So I made that up and I did that. I did the cement, I did the whole thing so that I could, when I got done, I could feel the joy of meeting a small goal.
I think that there's so much in what you just said is that people expect things easy. And I love what you said. Life is hard. Whatever you do is hard. And one of the lessons that I got at one point a few years ago, I had so many things going that what it was doing is actually diluting the very thing that I'm here for. That can happen too. And that they weren't bad in itself. They just were not on the path. And they were diluting. People can do that too. They can dilute you away from your path. So I had all these things going, weren't bad, but it was a distraction. And so it's very important to be fine-tuned, to be something on point in whatever you're doing. But everything you do is hard. So people say, oh, you could just do this on the side. There's no such thing. For me, it was real estate. I took it 2 years and I think, I'll just make some money on the side, do this. Have you ever done anything that's on the side? Whatever you do takes a lot of time. I don't care what it is. Dog walking, you become a dog walker. Then you get the whole neighborhood. It takes a lot, then paperwork, then invoice, a lot of time. So you can't just go into things half cocked. You really need to decide, is this for me or not? So I now don't do anything unless it's exactly on my path. Again, that wasn't bad, but you can't do anything part way. You need to do it wholeheartedly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing how far you can push yourself.
I use the get three answer rule, the get three answer rule of discernment. And that is, if I don't know, like someone asked me about a project and I didn't hear my guides and I'm not really sure what to do, I'll ask three really, really people that I trust, and I'll ask them about the project. First person says, yeah, I think you should do it. Next person said, no, I don't think you should do it. And third person will go either way. And I usually get 2 out of 3. So I take that 2 out of 3 and I go back to my guides and go, hey, look, I've been waiting for you. You haven't shown up.
Impatient too, aren't you?
So I was just wondering, I'm going to go ahead with this project until you tell me to stop. And I've done a couple of projects that way. Just
okay.
like,
How'd it
go? About 50-50. Some of them
about 50-50. I wonder why it is sometimes they don't always tell you.
Because it's like, figure it out yourself. They get tired sometimes. They come back and say, this one you got to figure out yourself.
Yeah, I think sometimes they'll leave you there
They'll leave you there
to figure stuff out. And they don't, but I would say 80% of the time they'll give you exactly what you need, but sometimes
if they're talking, they'll give you about 80%. That's about right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then the rest,
the 20% you get. I do my 3 people rule.
The 20% you might get your butt kicked, but and because you gotta I gotta figure this out. Yeah. And the good thing is there's no really wrong answers. If you want to go to Switzerland and be a waitress, or if you want to stay at home and have 3 kids. There's really no wrong answers. It's whatever your soul needs. We're just here to learn. So, so again, I want to make sure they know your spiritual podcast, Exploring Consciousness, that is on the first, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the second week. What time is it? Or is it just go live?
It's not live. And so I have, on the second week of every month, Monday, I introduce somebody, like I'll introduce Tom Campbell. It's just me talking about Tom Campbell. On Wednesday, I've interviewed someone that knows Tom Campbell or knows his work, and then they can talk about yes or no or whatever. Here's how I feel about Tom's work. And then the Friday, I actually Tom. So it's a unique podcast.
I like that. Really? Your guides told you that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Someone figured that out.
Oh my God. Well, they told me this too, but I'm like, why would I have this is what they told me about mine. Okay. This, I don't know if any of this is right, and it may evolve. Okay. But they said, we want people to get to know people so they can see, examples. They need real examples like yours so they could, get out of their head in their own life and see examples of people. If we came on and we were really polished, and we're not polished right now, but if we came on really polished and perfect, and they would think it's unattainable. But if you come in and say, look at my person, I've stumbled, I've fallen, here I am, keep trying anyway, and then do even a more formalized, but a conversation about your life or about your expertises, and then on the Friday chat, then we can pick a snippet of that and just have some fun and just kind of kick back. So it gets, to me, people get to know someone, and then guess what? I've seen a lot of my guests, they network with other people, people have made connections with them. And it's not just like, here you go, bye, or here's just NDEs, bye. It's like you get to know the people on my show and yours too, that they can be a part of their world. And if they want to reach out to them, fine. And if not, hopefully they took something away. But it's interesting. Yours is a get to know someone in a well-rounded way. And this is something too, because I was like, why would I try to do someone twice if I can. If they're some people don't want to play and some people don't want to disclose themselves that much. And that's okay. It's okay.
Yep.
So, well, look, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for your vulnerability and putting yourself out there. There's so many people that are going to benefit from what you do. And I'm just so blessed to know you.
I'm blessed to know you. And I'm glad I'm not alone. Thanks, Spiritual Pal, for doing what you do, because, you're echoing what I'm doing, which is the highest compliment. Not that I'm perfect in any way, I'm not, but it is tough just to put yourself out there and hopefully make a lot of beautiful connections. And we're building a beautiful soul community, right? I send people over to you, me, we have a beautiful community. So much love to you so much, Donna, and namaste.
Namaste.